So we're finally making progress on the press brake. It's moved. It's over here by the door now, so I can get it pressure washed. I'm gonna go ahead and pressure wash it, get all this extra grease off of here, and all the flaking paint, get all this knocked off, and go over it with some kind of color. It may just be gray primer, I don't know. But anyway, so I've made a little bit of progress, I believe, on getting the drive system to work on this thing. So I cut out a flange. One of my problems has been a sheave for this thing. The sheave from Nexen, I'm finding it anywhere from $600 to $800, and I can't do that on this machine. So we're going to try something. Before we do that, we're going to save that for last resort. So when I sent the calcs in to Nexen, to their salesman slash engineer, I guess is what he is, when he ran the numbers, it was based on this motor doing, it does 1725 RPM with this pulley, with this size pulley. This is the pulley that came off the old motor. This is a 12 3/4 pulley. And then the flywheel has an 11 3/4 pulley, I think. Pretty sure that's the reduction. I may have them swapped. It may be, this is 11. Anyway, I may have the sizes swapped. But anyway, the speeds that I gave him was based on that. So I can't find a QD bushing that I'm confident will adapt this sheave to that shaft, because that's an 1 3/8 shaft, and that's like a 1 inch or an 1 1/8 shaft. I don't remember. Anyway, I can't find a QD bushing that I'm confident is actually going to do this. So I just ordered a sheave, same size as this one, with the proper shaft size, QD bushing, all that stuff. So this is what I've got for the clutch. Now this may seem a little crazy, but this is what I have. So essentially the way these clutches work, in case you didn't see my other video, your sheave mounts on this outer housing. It's turned by the belt, so the inner housing is separate when it's disengaged. When you add air to it through these two ports here, when you add air, it locks it together and the whole thing turns. It's just a basic concept here. These springs right here pull the friction plates back when air is disengaged, yada yada. So the sheave that mounts right here is, like I said, $500, $900, something like that. I can't do that. Just can't do that right now. If it comes down to that, then this project's going to get put on hold. So what I did is I cut this flange out on the plasma table. This is 1/2 inch plate, and I got to get shorter screws here. I got to cut these off. These are a little bit long. Chase the threads out on here, and they're still just a little bit long. They bottom out in the housing, so I've got to adjust that. But this flange right here will go in the flywheel, and I'll show you that. Since they're in different parts of the shop right now, I'll show you this first too. So this takes an SK QD bushing here. It goes down inside here. That's what attaches this inner housing to the shaft. So I've got this QD bushing ordered as well. It says on their website it's an SK. I think it's an SK. Whatever it says is what I ordered for the 1.5 inch shaft that I have. We're gonna see. Then on here goes a rotary air cap. I ordered one. It's for a DPC 13 clutch. This is a 9. So it's about this big. The purpose of it is you are supposed to mount it right here with these 3 holes, and then it's got outlets on the sides that you run flexible hose with 90s to these ports. That's another part that's about $500 or $900. Can't do that. So we're going to find a way to make this work, because I do have an air union. I've showed you that in another video. And we're going to see if we can get that cap, and we can have Blake mill it down. We may have to get him to lathe it down to where it fits in here and drill these 3 holes in it. It was only 13 bucks, so that's a lot better than spending like $900 on a new one. So I said, you know what, screw it, I'll get it. We'll see if we can make it work. If anything, we'll put some spacers here. The biggest issue is it's going to be larger, so it's not going to be able to route in to these, because it's designed to go sit inside around this ring, and then you just put your outlets like here, and then you route your hose around to these points. So anyway, we're going to cross that bridge when we get there. We'll see if we can find something else to make it work. If not, then we'll wind up just making we'll make a flange somehow that attaches on here and stands off, and then we'll put tubing and run tubing to these that way. We'll figure that out. So let's go back down here to the other end of the shop. Let me lock the door first. Really wish that I had made this video before I moved everything to opposite sides of the shop from each other. You know, it is what it is. So we get down here to the other end, and I'll show you what my plan is. This is going to sound a little bit crazy, but I think we can make it work. The key thing to remember here is that the driven shaft is going to be rotating at about 2,000 RPMs is what we're aiming for. That's our mark, is we're aiming for 2,000. The max of the clutch is 2,200, so we can't exceed that, but that's the biggest thing. So it's all going to be supported by this bearing housing here. I've studied this. I think originally there was a block pillow bearing here that supported the shaft down here. We're going to wind up cutting this shaft down considerably because it's way too long as it is. But we'll cross that when we get there as well. So, and we may not have to cut it down as much as I think. We may can just run it through all the way through, because it has keyways up and down it. We're only going to need one of these keyways to engage the cog that goes here, which is this one, which oddly enough is wood. It's a wood cog with a brass cap on it. It's weird. Anyway, that's going to sit here. It's going to be a lot of weight, but I've studied it, and it goes through this plate, and it has these 4 bolts on it, so I think it can hold it. I think it will hold it, and it'll be okay. But I have thought about if I need to put a pillow bearing in there. Anyway, this ring right here, notice it has this lip on it, which it's on the list to get pressure washed tomorrow. It has this lip here. That 1/2-inch plate will sit in this lip. This ring right here mounts on the flywheel, which I just have hanging here to get it down here. It's super heavy. It mounts with these 6 bolts, and so my theory is that I can get the shaft run through here. I'm gonna have to press it all together. It's gonna be a major pain to put together, but I think it can be done. We can take the shaft, press it through here, and then we can put the QD bushing on the clutch, and we can put it all together, bolt it up and everything, get it all like it's gonna go, and then we can turn it to make sure that it's centered. If it's off center, it's going to destroy everything. So we can spin this and make sure that it's centered on the shaft somehow. Put a feeler or something on it so we make sure that it runs true. You know, we could even prop it up somewhere like this and just have a feeler that runs down to it, make sure it's actually running like it's supposed to. And then we will weld that flange to that ring over there, and it will be detachable because of this. This is the original flywheel. I mean, this is what was driven originally. It drove right here, and then the old friction clutch mounted to it. So I mean, this is where it's designed to be run from. I'm kind of concerned that the flywheel is going to affect the performance. He told me that we didn't need the flywheel because the clutch was rated for plenty of poundage and torque, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't think it's going to hurt anything, but we're going to see if it does. Like I said, tomorrow we're going to get this thing out. We're going to pressure wash, get it cleaned up, make it look nice. And very likely what we may wind up having to do to get this thing assembled, because this is a very tight tolerance in this hole, which is good because it adds support to it. What we may wind up doing actually is, because you have to have access to these bolts, this cog has to come off to get this bolt out right here and to get this whole housing off. But this cog sits behind the flywheel when the flywheel mounts up. So what we may wind up having to do is take that cog off and take this collar right here loose, take this collar loose, and then see if we can run that shaft this way to get it out, and then we can mount everything up, and then we can hold this cog with everything together. With everything else assembled, we can hold this cog up here, and we can slip that shaft back through. It's going to be a big pain, but we're going to see. This bracket will probably only get used for the air cap and stuff. Somehow we'll probably repurpose it, you know, bring something up off of it, whatever we need to do. And this motor mount we're gonna have to have like out here, so this may get moved over to this side of the plate with bolts running that way, and then probably knock this tension ear or this ear off right here. And we're gonna make it, it's gonna be adjustable because I want adjustable speed. So I'm gonna find probably, which I have, I do have that small sheave back there that I might can use for my tensioner. But anyway, I'm gonna make it where it's got a screw on it so you can adjust the tension on it, because that should allow me to adjust the speed because of the slip. Anyway, we're gonna get this thing out and get it all pressure washed tomorrow, and get it cleaned up and see what everything looks like. Like I said, this thing's been well greased, so I wasn't really worried about too much wear on everything. I mean, all of it looks, there's no slack in it. The dogs look like they don't have any slack in them. I think it's going to be a good machine when we get it going. After we get everything mounted up, the next task is going to be wiring it. So I have to get some cable and put a 230 end on it. This cable looks like it's bad. It got hit with a forklift earlier, so probably have to replace this cable. I would have replaced it anyway. None of these connections look great. But we'll put a cable on here with a 230 end, and the pedal, we'll get the pedal wired in and all that. I did go ahead and bite the bullet and order a 3-way air solenoid valve for it. Like I said in the last video, I'm worried that the way these are designed, they're supposed to have an exhaust port so that when you release the clutch, that it actually exhausts the air and releases the tension on the clutch, and it'll actually allow it to release. So without that, I'm worried that it's not going to release. And it was pretty cheap, so I just went ahead and ordered all of that stuff today. And anyway, that's the update for the day. We'll see how far we get on this thing this week. I think the parts are due to be delivered. I think most of them said around the 15th. Today's the 12th, and today's Wednesday, so Thursday, Friday, 13, 14. We're looking at probably early next week before it'll be delivered, because we are a business, so they can't deliver on weekends. So anyway, that's where we're at with it, and I'll keep you posted, keep you updated. Like, share, comment.